So let's discuss force between multiple charges. Last time what we had discussed, the force between 2-point charges. Now the situation is different. Here we should consider the force between a multiple charges. That means if there are a number of point charges and we want to know, as in this example, Q1, Q2, okay, and Qn are the point charges, n point charges, and there is another point charge, that's a small q, and we want to calculate the force on small q due to Q1, Q2, Qn. So then what should you do? Here we should use a formula or say principle called principle of superposition of forces. Okay, so now what it states? Suppose F1 is the individual force due to Q1 on Q, F2 is the individual force due to Q2 on Q, and Fn with the individual force on Q due to Qn. Individual force means if there were no other charge. That means if one is the individual force due to Q1 on Q, it means only Q1 and Q are present, the other charges are absent. Clear? So then the principle of superposition of forces states that the total force on Q, F is equal to F1 plus F2 Fn, that is a vector sum of individual forces. Okay, so here is written F is equal to F1 plus F2 plus Fn. Now as we know, the force between 2-point charges as per Coulomb's law is given as 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 by R square R cap. But here the for the force F1, which is the force applied by Q1 on Q, 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q by R1 square R cap, likewise for Q2, likewise for Qn. Okay, clear? Now where R1, R2, Rn are the position vector of Q with respect to Q1, Q2, Qn, and R1 cap, R2 cap, and Rn cap are the unit vectors along R1 vector, R2 vector, Rn respectively. Now let's before proceeding further, so let's consider an example. Here we should calculate the force between 2-point charges, 3 nanocoulomb and 6 nanocoulomb. Clear? Obviously between 2-point charges there are two forces and both are same in magnitude but opposite direction. Here we are considering only magnitude. So that's why you should use the Coulomb's law in a without any direction. That's your F is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 by R square. Here Q1 and Q2 are given as like this, 3 nanocoulomb and 6 nanocoulomb. So 3 nano means 10 to the minus 9 coulomb and 6 into 10 to the minus 9 coulomb. Obviously 1 by 4 pi epsilon is equal to 9 into 10 to the 9 Newton meter square by Coulomb square. Obviously if you use these values in the formula, then force F is equal to this one, Newton. Now let's modify a bit the problem. Here we have 2-point charges positioned along x-axis and the position are given 2 meter, 0, 6, 5 meter, 0. And obviously as already I told you, there are two forces. So obviously there is a force on 6 microcoulomb by 9 microcoulomb and a force on 9 microcoulomb by 6 microcoulomb. So what are the magnitudes and the directions of each one of them? Okay, so to calculate first force on 6 microcoulomb by 9 microcoulomb. Obviously both are positive charges and both will repel each other. Now as we are considering force on 6 microcoulomb by 9 microcoulomb, so you should consider that 9 microcoulomb is fixed whereas 6 microcoulomb is movable. Obviously it will repel it along this direction. That the direction of force on 6 microcoulomb must be towards the negative x-axis. So here you should calculate like this, 1 by 4 pi epsilon Q1 Q2 by R square R cap. Q1 Q2 is given as per the values. Okay, clear? So force on, okay, so now position vector of 6 microcoulomb by 9 microcoulomb means we should subtract the coordinates of 6 microcoulomb from the coordinates of 9 microcoulomb. Coordinates of 6 microcoulomb 2 meter, 0, and 9 microcoulomb 5 meter comma 0. So if you subtract therefore let's say R1 is equal to minus 3I meter, and in vector as per the definition R1 vector by R1 magnitude, so minus IK. So force on 9 microcoulomb, if you use the proper values like this, minus 36 into minus 9 IK Newton. That means the force on 6 microcoulomb by 9 microcoulomb is 36 into minus 9 directed along negative axis. Obviously there is a minus sign. Okay. So similarly you can calculate the force on 9 microcoulomb by the 6 microcoulomb. Obviously magnitude same, but direction is opposite. Clear? And we have here shown which is along positive x-axis. So next modify it a bit. Here in the previous example what was there? Both were of positive nature, but here we are making 6 microcoulomb negative and 9 microcoulomb remained as a positive. Okay, clear? For your convenience or for your better understanding. Now again we should repeat the same question, that your force on minus 6 microcoulomb by 9 microcoulomb, and next force on 9 microcoulomb by minus 6 microcoulomb. Obviously this is a negative charge and this is a positive charge, so force on it means it will attract along the positive axis. So if you consider 9 microcoulomb fixed and whereas minus 6 microcoulomb movable, then it will move towards the positive axis, and we will show it in the calculation also. Its direction is always positive axis. Next, what is the force on 9 microcoulomb by minus 6 microcoulomb? Obviously it will attract, and the attract means 9 microcoulomb will move along this direction, negative x-axis. Again, likewise as before, if you calculate everything and use the values, you can show it as it has been shown in this right in the writing. Clear? Okay. So next we should consider another example where there are more than 2 point charges, that there are 3 point charges, and here we should consider what is the net force on minus 4 nanocoulomb. Okay, now as there are 2 points, it will apply force on minus 4 nanocoulomb, it will also apply force. Now the total force is calculated by the principle of superposition of force. Mindful to superposition force means actually what is the hidden meaning? It means that if the force applied by each is not disturbed by the force applied by the other, that means they will maintain their identity. So 2 nano, here we should consider total force, that means force due to 2 nanocoulomb plus force due to 6 nanocoulomb. And suppose we have taken them as F1 and F2 like this, Q1 Q2, okay, F1 and F2, so F is equal to given like this as per Coulomb's law. So force here have derived, okay, F1 F2 be the force and R1 R2 so with respect to respectively, okay, clear. So and obviously R1 R2. Next we consider the force. Obviously total force is this one 16.9 coulomb directed towards a positive axis. So that's the if charges move, it will move towards a positive axis. Okay. Now the other 2 bits are homeworks for you. It's a task for you. Another exercise is like this. Okay. So you can do. Okay. So now we should move to another topic, that's a continuous charge distribution. Continuous means what we have shown before, that they are discrete. That is, we can see, we can feel the charges individually. But continuous means we cannot feel. They are so closed spaced that we cannot see them individually. Okay, so that is called continuous. As an example, we can say if you rub a comb on our head, then the charge is distributed over its surface. That is a continuous charge distribution. Now, continuous charge distribution can be studied under 3 categories. One is a linear charge distribution, then your surface charge distribution, and that's a volume charge distribution. Here we have written that if the charge is over a line, the line may be also like this. Okay, it may be a straight line or a curved line. So under that case, linear charge density lambda is equal to Q by L. L is the length of the line and Q is the total charge. Now, if it is uniformly distributed, obviously you can write like this: lambda is equal to Q by L. Now, if you want to know what would be the point charge in this case, if you want to calculate the force applied by this line charge, linear charge on a point charge, then we should use Coulomb's law. But Coulomb's law is true only for point charge. That means we should choose some section we should consider as a point charge, and that section is given as dl, and the charge contained in dl is given as a dq, and dq is equal to lambda into dl. Okay, so next is your surface charge distribution. Similarly, surface, if the charge is distributed over a surface charge density sigma is equal to Q by A. Obviously, its unit is Coulomb by meter square. Here we have shown it the surface charge density, and the point charge is dq is equal to sigma into dA. And the next is your volume charge density distribution. Okay, if we distribute over a volume, that means we can take we will consider it like this: if a box filled with the electrons, or a charge, I can say charged particles, charges are gas molecules like this. Okay, okay. So next goes I say this figure. Okay, the volume charge distribution. Okay, here is to finish. That's it. Thanks for watching. Okay, clear.